Hello there, watchers. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you again for tuning into Sin's Workshop here on YouTube. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today's video is going to be a little different. I will be reviewing two books of the Hell's Library series by A.J. Hackwith. Okay. Loved this series. Let me just start with that. The first book is The Library of the Unwritten. Oh my god, it's a library in hell. Come on, what part of that is not just completely interesting and unique? I loved it so much. You know, the Library of the Unwritten, I came across it and I was just like, oh, this looks cool. And then I read it, I'm like, library in hell. Ooh, really interesting. And then I finally had a chance to read it, and you know what? I was not disappointed. I really do like the story. I like the evolution of it. I think that's what I think is best, because it starts with Claire. She is the head librarian of the Unwritten wing, where all the books that, were unwritten by authors, or unfinished, or never published, are in this library. Now, what I think is really cool is Claire. She was an aspiring writer in life. So this is kind of her punishment, I guess, for not believing in herself enough to finish and publish her own story. I really think when I die, I will be going to the library. I really do. I think that's going to be my afterlife for me. Could be worse. I always wanted to work in a library. Her assistant is Brevity, a former muse who stole inspiration for herself. And on her journey, she's joined by the demon, but not a demon, Leto, and the character Hero, who is, funny enough, the antagonist of his story. And that's how the story begins. They are on their way. They have to recapture Hero. He escaped from his story, and I think that's really cool. The characters in this novel, they can come to life, and I really do think that's really cool. So they have to find Hero, bring him back, and return him to his book. On their way, they're confronted by the fallen angel of Ramil, who's trying to do his best to get back into heaven. He was part of, Lucifer's whole trying to take over heaven parade. But anyway, I think it's really fun. I think it's really cool. Once again, I love the progression of this. Once they meet Ramil, their story takes on a whole new twist. Yeah, she's got Hero, and what I think is really cool is they have to, oops, sorry about that. They have to find the devil's Bible. I have to find Hell's Bible, and keep it from the hands of heaven, I guess, from Uriel, people who would take its power and misuse it. I think there's lots of addressing of balance in this novel. I really do like this balance of the storytelling. I really do think it is engaging, and I love the adventure because it doesn't just stay in hell. The story, it doesn't just stay on Earth either. It takes you to Valhalla as well, and I love that. I love how Claire, she makes a point, or the author, I love how both make a point of not just regarding any other religion. She says there are many realms for every spirituality, every religion, every thought. They change as culture changes them, and I really do think it's cool to see Valhalla and ravens and all of that brought to life. I thought it was really cool. But in any case, I think the most impressive thing in this story is how the characters change and grow. I do love that you've got you have an angel, you've got a demon, you've got a character, you've got a librarian, you've got a muse. I think it's really cool to see all of these people come together for this adventure in this story. And I can't say this enough, I was at work and it was a slow day at work, and I was listening to this as an audiobook. That's how I was able to, finally read it. And my coworker asked me, and he's not someone who reads really. He's admitted that to me. He only really likes to read comic books, and I love comic books too. But he said he doesn't really like to read, and he's like, "Well, what are you listening to?" I'm like, "Oh, an audiobook." And I told him the description of it and where I was in the novel. He's like, "That sounds really cool. I think I'm gonna have to read that." I'm like, "You should read it. It's great." So I think if I'm able to get someone to read it just by talking to them and telling them like the plot points of what's happened so far at that point, someone who doesn't even like to read really, I think it really says a lot about how powerful this story is and how compelling it is. And yeah, I will say this, sometimes the characters can come off a little standoffish, but you're still able to relate to them. They're still relatable characters. They're still enriching. They're still thoughtful and compelling characters. And that's what I thought was really cool about them, how thoughtful and compelling they were as characters. Now, to the Archive of the Forgotten. So, the events of the first novel, I really don't want to spoil anything, but Claire is no longer the head librarian. Now she's the arcanist. In the Archive of the Forgotten. Now, this is, where all the objects of stories, tend to go, powerful objects as well. They go here. And Brevity is the new head librarian. Her new apprentice is Hero, formerly antagonist of a story. And Claire's new assistant is Ramil. I mean, come on, that's great. You have all these characters from the first novel who were like all kind of like butting heads, and now they're all best friends, kind of. There's a lot of tension in this story given the events of the first novel. Lots of lives, character lives, and stories were destroyed in the first novel at the end. Once again, I don't want to spoil how, why that happens, but there is this battle at the library. Damsels, because damsels in stories have their own wing. Isn't that cool? They have their own wing in the library, the damsel wing. Some of them die defending the library, and basically it showcases how Claire failed in her duty to protect the library. So now there's a lot more tension between the characters. Yeah, they still love each other. They still consider each other family and friends, but there's still a lot of tension because they all see things differently, especially Claire and Brevity. Claire was a human. She doesn't understand works of art the way a muse would. Brevity she sees colors in the story. She sees life flow through them. So this really does put them at odds with one another, and I really do think that that's really interesting to see them put at odds with one another. I really do. It really does bring another level of depth to the relationship that we didn't really see in the first novel, and as we're getting to understand these characters a little more, especially as they're adjusting to their new situation and the new events, this pool of ink that has mysteriously appeared and almost kills Claire. As we see this, I think we really do get to see just how different they are in respects to one another as a muse. I will say this, I don't like Probity at all. That muse, she rubs me the wrong way. I don't like her. I really don't. I think she should just die. I think muses are gonna bite me in the butt later. But I didn't like her, and she adds more attention to the story, Hero and Ramil, I like them a lot. I do love their development in the story. I will say this, I didn't say this earlier, but what I do like what the author does here is she does include LGBTQ representation. Claire is, excuse me, Claire is pansexual. They make a note to say that. And I really do think it's cool because back in her day when she was alive, she didn't know what that word meant. And then she meets the demon Leto and he tells her, he's like, what you're describing is pansexual. And she's like, oh, there's a word for it now. Good to know. So I think it's really cool to bring that to life in the story. And in Archive of the Forgotten, we delve deeper into the LGBTQ community. We do get to see Hero explore his feelings a little bit more, Ramil as well. They both have, you can see their feelings are kind of torn. I mean, everyone has feelings for Claire. It's like everyone has feelings for Hero. It's like everyone has feelings for Ramil. But it doesn't feel cheap. You know, sometimes it's not your typical love triangle. And that's what I like about it. It's not really a love triangle at all. Yeah, you get three people who are all in love with one another, but it doesn't feel cheap. It feels very real, very human, very compelling and thoughtful as far as the story goes. And that's what I really enjoyed about it, how the author really delves into the emotions of what it means to be human, of what it means to love. More than that, I like how she continues to explore realms. We have the Dust Wing, you know, in the library. The Dust Wing is where all the books that are no longer in print, books that have been utterly destroyed and lost in time and to humanity, they go there to rot, basically. It makes me really sad to think about that. And then you have the Unsaid Wing. The Unsaid Wing is in Elysium, the Elysian Fields of Greek mythology. And you know who is the head of the Unsaid Wing? It's Echo. I love that part. I do think that that's imaginative and creative, especially when when the characters are talking to Echo. I like how the dialogue is structured in the story. Yeah, Echo's repeating things to you, but you can still tell that Echo is saying something else back to you. I really think that that's creative. I really do think it's imaginative. And I love how, once again, the author takes us readers on another adventure. First novel, we went to Valhalla. Now we're going to the Elysian Fields in Greek mythology. I think that's amazing. And yeah, we go face to face with the muses. And then there's another realm as well. I forgot the name of that realm. But I thought it was really cool. I really did. I love this series. I do love it. And I also loved how the author really went all in when describing books and how they have souls. And I think it was beautiful. I love this idea that stories have souls, how they have a piece of the author with them. So they're taking a piece of the author's soul in them. And I think as any aspiring writer, I think we can truly connect to that, because it's just like we really do put our heart and soul when we're into stories as we're writing them. And I think it's amazing to see that idea completely explored in this novel. It was wonderful. It was, it made my heart sing to see such an appreciation of the written work. You do get to see appreciation of the written work in the first novel, don't get me wrong. But to see it even more appreciated here in this novel, I thought was really, really compelling. I thought it was really joyful and full of life and just ultimately mesmerizing. I loved it. It made my heart sing. It really did connect to me as not only a writer who loves to write, but a reader who loves to read. I mean, you think these are all the books I have? I've got like 2 huge IKEA bookshelves downstairs, and I need to buy like 3 more. Because you see this cabinet right there? That's full of books. And I have an exact cabinet like that right here above my head. In fact, this one was so full of books that one time at 3 in the morning it came crashing down. Scared the crap out of me. That's how much I love books. Oh, and my closet over there is full of books too. All over there. Can't see it. It's not in the frame, but it's full of books. I need more shelf space. But you know what? In any case, this was the Hell's Library series. There better be a 3rd book. The way Archive of the Forgotten just ended, oh gosh. Freaking amazing. Just pure amazing. It's just, there's so much tension. And if you love books, this is the book. This is the series for you. It just takes you to different worlds. Literally, it literally takes you to different worlds. It explores a love of reading and explores a love of writing. Definitely pick it up. The Hell's Library series by A.J. Hackwith. Definitely pick it up. It's so worth reading. I give both. 4.5 5 stars. Both of them. They're both so good. I can't decide 4.5 or 5. 4.5 or 5. So 4.5 or 5 stars. I can't really decide, you know? I mean, it blows me away, but does it blow me away enough for, I'll give it a 5 stars. There. I made my decision. Library of the Unwritten and the Archive of the Forgotten both get 5 stars for me. Absolutely love them. Can't get enough of them. I need the 3rd book. I need a 3rd book. On that note, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Please do not forget to support Sin's Workshop by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Happy reading.